The opportunities around more acceleration capabilities are actually endless when you bring to harness the power of both Microsoft with an ISV partner and a GSI.
Welcome to the Microsoft Cloud Executive Enablement Series, where we speak with Microsoft Cloud senior leaders and experts about the latest trends and technologies we're seeing in the market. The goal of this series is to share with you and your teams our perspective on the business value driven by the Microsoft Cloud for our mutual customers, and the opportunities for our partners to grow their business with Microsoft.
My name is Olga Karpman. I'm the Product Planning and Operations Leader for the Industry Partner Engineering Group, focused on enabling joint success for our industry partners.
And my name is Allan Brown. I lead up the Industry ISV Product team, and my team works closely with a set of prioritized industry ISVs to deliver industry solutions on top of the Microsoft Cloud.
Today, Allan and I going to share more about the Microsoft Cloud for industry strategy and the work we're doing with our GSI and ISV partners.
Thank you, Olga, and I'm so excited to be here today.
Allan, I know you come from the financial services company, and now as part of your Microsoft work, you engage with a lot of industry customer and partners. What's on top of their minds, and how do we actually respond as a company?
Yeah, really great question. And, like most companies during this time, everyone's trying to figure out how do you do more with less, right? We're sitting in this day and age where we have just this massive, challenge around, either it's, macroeconomic conditions or, societal change or, technological changes as well. Just think of ChatGPT and OpenAI and how that's kind of blown up as of late. So we see 5 key imperatives that are going to be important to all organizations across all industries, and that starts with number 1 to be data driven and optimized with Azure. Number 2, deliver efficiency with automation and AI. Number 3, innovate with a cloud development platform. And number 4, it's really about re-energizing your workforce with M365. And then last, but certainly not least, number 5, which is all about protecting everything, everyone, everywhere. Olga, I'm sure you're hearing similar feedback from our GSI partners who are an integral part of our Microsoft Cloud for Industry strategy. For those of you who aren't familiar with our strategy, it might be good for you to give an overview to ground our conversation. Can you talk a little bit about the strategy, what industries we're focused on, and where we're taking our first-party offerings?
So we're working closely with Microsoft Global Partner Organization to ensure that the set of practices and patterns are integrated through a well-architected approach. Yeah. And that allows us also to focus on some very specific industry and customer scenarios. For example, the focus industries now are for us are financial services, healthcare, manufacturing, retail, sustainability, energy, and the global expansion. And our aim really is to build the capabilities not only in those industries, but in those industry-specific customer scenarios so that our partners can be empowered to deliver the customer value. Allan, like everything we do at Microsoft, our success depends on partners, but I think that's especially true for industry. Can you talk more deeply about how you are working with partners?
Absolutely, and again, another really great question. Partners are absolutely critical to our strategy. When you think about our industry clouds, partners are at the center of everything that we do. If we double click on our strategy just a bit, we focus on industry solution plays like enhanced patient engagement in the healthcare space. These type of industry accelerators provide Power Apps and Azure capability bundles that provide our partners with a starting point for building their respective industry solutions. A good example is Teladoc, a leading virtual healthcare provider in North America. They built a solution on top of Microsoft Cloud for remote patient care. GSIs are also an integral part of our strategy because they are in the implementation path. They do that last mile delivery. and often taking ISVs with them as they include their own IP to provide that industry-specific value. We're also focused on building specific industry-focused services to accelerate time to value. One example of this is the Azure Health Data Services. When you consider all industries, there are a unique set of industry-specific data services, data and AI models that we can ship with each industry solution that our partners and customers can take, configure, extend to meet industry-specific needs. So in a nutshell, our industry cloud strategy enables partners to accelerate time to value at scale.
So looking at it from an ISV product management perspective, right? You mentioned the creating differentiated industry solutions. So tell us a little more how you and your team actually work with industry ISVs.
That again, another really great question. And as we've engaged with ISVs, we've unlocked 3 different type of engagement patterns. And we use those patterns to really inform how we engage. So the first engagement pattern that we actually use with ISVs is Microsoft as an ingredient. So think of underlying compute and collaboration services. In this specific case, Microsoft IP is not visible to the ISV's partners and users. So in this particular case, again, I'll use Teladoc as another great example with Teladoc Solo. Teladoc is controlling the user experience that a patient would observe, that a patient would see, while Microsoft is providing the underlying platform. Our next engagement model is integrated. So in an integrated model, Microsoft IP is visible. So think of something like Power BI being presented in the user's experience. In that particular case, it really requires tight collaboration around definition, design, and delivery of a given solution because we're tightly integrated. So a good example of this is some work that we recently did, and you're really familiar with this as well, is with iFi. So iFi provides smart store analytics for autonomous stores. And we've partnered with iFi and actually showed our Better Together solution at the National Retail Federation Conference just last month. And what was really beautiful about it, we were able to stand that up with not only Microsoft and iFi, but we were able to bring an iFi customer along with us, Zapka, who happens to be a Polish retailer. Our last engagement model is a bit deeper. It's going to take a lot more effort, and it's called layered. So in that particular case, we're looking to build things on open industry standards. A great example of this is what we're doing in the energy space with Schlumberger, where we're building to the open subsurface data universe to build the Azure Data Manager. And then we take Schlumberger's solution, their portion of the solution, and layer it on top. So again, with the layered engagement model, it really requires a deep commitment from not only Microsoft, but the partner as well to make that successful.
So, really, what are the benefits of building this 3 engagement models, for partners and for your team engaging with them? Would love to hear more.
Really great question. And the benefit of those engagement models, it provides clarity on how we're going to dedicate our resources to actually build that better together scenario with the ISV or a GSI. So it really helps inform what, number one, what the resource commitments will be in that engagement model. So when you think of ingredient, in most cases, that's where we'll provide, reference architectures, maybe POCs, but it's really the ISV in that particular case that's driving a lot of the go-to-market motion so that they can run pretty fast. When you start moving into an integrated, where we are tightly coupled together, again, it helps inform, not only how we leverage our engineering resources, but how do we go to market jointly where we can add, joint value in the Microsoft marketplace to sell that solution. In the third, with layered, again, heaviest commitment that gets all the benefits of the previous 2 engagement types.
Got it. Yeah, no, I definitely see how this categorization and really the marketplace, Microsoft Marketplace, would help drive all of those 3 types. Yeah.
So, Olga, we just talked about how my group engages with ISVs. How are we doing that with GSIs?
Yeah, so happy to give an example. Let's take financial services. So we're seeing clearly an opportunity with retail banks. And the opportunity typically starts with a conversation about modernization. The customer views migration and re-platforming is a really high-risk endeavor, right?
Because it's almost like doing brain surgery, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, just think how risky that is, right? To think about re-platforming, migrations. But when they do that on top of Microsoft Cloud for Financial Services, which is a modern platform, and they have an opportunity to build their capabilities on top, what it does is actually creates a predictable and a safe way for them to build their business on it.
That's a really good point. And again, coming from the financial services industry, I truly understand the sentiment of moving from one cloud provider to another that, again, is doing brain and heart surgery at the same time. But one of the points that you really made, which I think is really powerful, when you look at the Microsoft Cloud, what we're really saying, partner with an ISV partner, is, hey, last year, 5 years, 10 years ago, a lot of the plumbing that you would have to do with a cloud provider, you had to do it yourself. Leveraging the Microsoft Cloud for Industry, we've bundled that up, and that's what makes it an accelerator. So a lot of the heavy lift that they would have to go through previously, we've removed that friction.
Yeah, not only that, but we also basically providing an opportunity now for system integrators to take the platform, to build the capabilities, add ISV capabilities or other ISV solution, and think of that they now can actually take this bundle to their customers, right? And now the customer actually does see a huge value in that.
Yeah. And the opportunities around more acceleration capabilities are actually endless when you bring to harness the power of both Microsoft with an ISV partner and a GSI.
So yeah, Allan, would love to hear more how your organization actually helps those ISVs moving up the Microsoft stack.
Great question again, Olga. We have a tool called the Partner Solution Journey Map, which really focuses on Microsoft Cloud focus areas. And what we look at is a specific ISV solution and how it's moving from a foundational step to a transformational phase. Now, when we look at this map, the beauty in it, it is an agnostic tool. It's applicable to ISVs, it's applicable to GSIs, and we can also apply it to customers as well. So, when we bring this in front of, an ISV partner, some of the questions that we'll ask as an example is like, how are you thinking about ChatGPT or OpenAI and how it's going to make your solution more compelling? Are you thinking about security and how it differentiates your value prop?
So the foundational would be some very standard, I'm guessing, foundational requirements, right, to ensure the future building up in the future services, right? Am I looking at it the right way?
You are absolutely looking at it the right way. And as we do those assessments, it really helps inform us on what is the next best action that we can take to help an ISV partner move up that transformation scale. So in doing so, in collaboration with the ISV partner, we typically identify a series of opportunities that we can go after to mature the solution. In connection to that, we also look at, what are the co-sell opportunities as well? So how do we go to market? So this really helps informs how we deeply engage with the partner.
So I guess it wouldn't be right not to ask about ChatGPT. Where does ChatGPT fall, right?
Well, in those cloud focus areas, right? So data and AI are huge, right? So, there is a big groundswell around OpenAI and ChatGPT. I think it's really going to transform some of the various industries. I would say some are a little bit more ripe for that technology, if you will. But yes, it's part of our partner journey map where we can have those robust conversations to help, really drive real value for the partner.
Wow, this is quite an innovative work. Really exciting.
Yeah. Now we know how we leverage the partner journey map, with our ISV partners. And I know that's something that the team is going to look to incorporate for GSIs. Again, it's an agnostic tool. But I know the team is also deeply engaged in looking at a well-architected framework that is very similar to the well-architected for cloud framework. Can you give us a little bit more color on how this would be applied to GSIs?
Oh, yes, definitely. So if you think of it, well-architected framework is a set of resources and the best practices that actually position to get the better business outcome, right? Like, and right now we have it developed for Azure, and which is basically publicly available at aka.ms/WAF. WAF for short for well-architected framework, right? So those been used a lot by customers, definitely by partners. And what we do now, we build in WAF, well-architected framework for industry. And really what it's going to include for partners, it will have like additional improved practices and patterns on improved security, reliability, performance, and cost optimization. So basically now their GSIs can actually take it, build with it, use it as a guidance, and bring it to their industry customers.
So a lot of support resources, a lot of references, so that our GSI partners don't have to hunt and peck to find things. This will be defined in a central location that they can leverage to move forward.
Definitely, because they are building on the years of experience, right?
Yeah.
Like in all this like wide range of customers, learnings, best practices that we gathered, then this is a great asset for anyone who would want to like just take it and use it to deliver their practice or solution or capabilities.
Olga, that was really great. Could you give us a little bit more color, around those critical points there? So performance, security, cost optimization. What is really in this for the GSI?
Well, think of it this way: these are the foundational parameters that customers are looking for in any of their IT project, right? And for industry customers, there's definitely very specific industry flavor to it. So with this set of practices, what our system integrators can do, they can take those resources, build their services and capability with this as a guided set of principle, and bring it to their customers, which is actually will accelerate deployment and will allow them to see the value.
It's like, wow, Olga, time is really flying by. I mean, this has been a really engaging conversation, and I appreciate the time, but I know we only have a few minutes left. So it would be great if you could share with our GSI partners the best way to engage with us moving forward.
Absolutely. The best way is to start with the work you're already doing with your PDM or Partner Development Manager. So once you identify your focused industry and the very specific customer scenario and solution you want to work, that's where well-architected framework style of enablement comes into play, right? Because those are the guided set of principles and best practices. And that's where we can work with PDMs or with other Microsoft teams to ensure that we support through the various co-build and co-develop opportunities.
That's just awesome. So Olga, this has been a great conversation, but what is the net takeaway for our GSI partners?
No, I think it's, I would say that the net takeaway is that we are very excited to partner with GSIs on this industry journey. Yeah. And we know that we rely on you to work with us on a guided set of principles and the best practices, and also on the joint customers where we see the biggest business opportunity. How do you see it from your side?
The net takeaway for me, and this is what I want our GSI partners to think about, and I know they already know this, when you think of ISVs and system integrators, there's a symbiotic relationship with bringing value to market. So with this industry context that we're all looking to go after, many of our GSIs have specific practices that are set up to serve specific industry verticals. So the main takeaway that I want them to have is that we are a platform company that is looking, again, to remove friction in the way that they go to market and build their solutions. So with WAF, with the partner journey maps, we are attempting to provide a set of resources that help them go faster.
Great. I think this is there's a lot of interesting work ahead of us, and excited to partner with you and excited to partner with all our customers and partners.
And that wraps up today's episode. Don't forget that this episode is a part of a series featuring some of our most experienced and innovative global executives packed full of great insights and examples of how to make the most out of working alongside Microsoft. If you haven't already, make sure to check out our other episodes. No matter your industry or area of focus, the Microsoft Global Partner Enablement Team is here to enable you and your teams to achieve more. If you want to hear a little more of this episode, we have a podcast which has some more of our discussion and some bonus content. If there's an area of cloud innovation you'd like to hear more about, please send us a note at salesenablement-gsi@microsoft.com so that we can create content that meets your enablement needs. Thank you for listening, thank you for engaging with us, and thank you for being a Microsoft partner. We'll see you on the next episode of the Microsoft Cloud Executive Enablement Series.